But yo, you step this way, you're getting played out of position.
When you see me, I wear a beanie and not a Kango. Now you got played like a fucking piano.
You want to test me? Are you stupid?
So in May, they were talking about Eddie got played, got left with egg on his face. Bob Arum said he was too desperate. Oh, Eddie really desperate, isn't he? Undisputed never got made between Fury and AJ. This is what I was talking about. Are we trying to get the best fights made, or are we trying to see one promoter look stupid and we laugh at one this week and then we laugh at the other the next? Because what did Shelley Finkel say after what looks like could be a short-lived victory with the arbitration? Deontay Wilder thrilled after Tyson Fury was ordered to face him and wants to derail Anthony Joshua fight. It was a great, great feeling. There's a parable about the dog with the bone. The big bone was Saudi Arabia, and you end up with nothing. Co-manager Shelley Finkel delighted after Deontay Wilder receives Tyson Fury fight. You see? Even his old ass was acting like some kid trying to style on people after the arbitration. Wilder went into silence for months and didn't say anything. Everybody thought he didn't want the fight. Maybe he's going to take some time out. Shelley didn't say anything. According to Bob Arum, they waited way too long and the contract expiry date ran out. Look at Shelley getting all high and mighty. A month or so ago, Eddie Hearn realized that there were legal liabilities hanging over his head by attempting to finalize the Fury unification. I don't think you have an arbitration out there and go, well, we've made a deal already. That to me is just not a logical way to do things. Then after that, you don't hear Eddie say anything. What are you fucking talking about? He was trying to make the deal because Bob Arum assured him that the arbitration won't be a problem. The most he'll have to do is pay damages. What are you talking about? The most annoying people right now with that arbitration situations is you know-it-alls. You the ones who have the benefit of hindsight. Well, you know, I could have told you that. There was an arbitration. See, the thing is, Frank and Bob didn't say anything about arbitration being a problem. Frank Warren and Bob Arum's biggest gripe with that fight was Eddie keep making announcements and this ain't signed. Eddie said it's signed and it ain't signed. That was their biggest gripe, not the arbitration. And anyone saying any different, you're full of it.
Obviously, the boxing world has been rocked in the last 24 hours or so with news of Tyson Fury's positive COVID test, the breakout in his Las Vegas camp. I just want to get your immediate initial thoughts on that.
Well, obviously disappointment, but also on June 15th, Bob Arum put out a statement. Him and I had met at the press conference. I told him Deontay's team and Deontay had 2 vaccinations already. And he said, oh, so did our camp, which is not true, obviously. So it's disappointing that way. And look, we waited a long, long time to get Fury. We had to sue in order to get what was rightfully ours. We got it. So, it's not fun, but it goes with the territory, and, you know, it's just a matter of time till Fury has to face Deontay again, and the results will show what they are. Promoters have. I have to run, Rob. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Shelley,
I've covered what you needed.
Absolutely. I really appreciate your time, as always. Look forward to catching up with you soon.
And have a great weekend.
Thanks very much, Shelley.
So what now? Should we talk about the egg on Wilder's face? And Shelley Finkel's face? Nah, all that's some bitch-made shit. That's the problem with some of you. It's all about, don't you look stupid, don't you look stupid. No. What's the fallout for boxing? We're even more further away from Undisputed. We've got contenders who ain't had a shot at that WBC belt for how long? Since 2019? Outside of Tyson Fury? Shelley and Wilder decided to bet on themselves. They invested their stake into the Tyson Fury business. And this is what they're getting. What Shelley and Deontay need to know is that Fury has their belt and they're not getting it back. Not saying that Fury's going to keep the belt. He might allow himself to get stripped. But it's very unlikely Wilder will get a chance to get the belt back directly in a fight from Tyson Fury. That's what I'm seeing now. But he's got the scalp and he's got the belt. I don't know what Bob Arum is thinking. I haven't got a clue. But Fury and his dad are probably looking for some loophole to get out of the Wilder fight. Try and get a fight for as much money as possible with at least risk as possible and get paid. Wilder has served this purpose for Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury no longer has no use for Deontay Wilder. This is what Wilder and his fan base may struggle to accept. Fury, he's now trying to discard Wilder like a condom he's just used. You've probably gathered by my tone that I don't think there'd be no fight between Fury and Wilder in October. Normally, when Fury pulls out of a fight, that fight's dead. If that third fight does happen, I don't believe it will be this year.
Now, here's a little story I got to tell.
Now, unless you're a Fury fan, supporter, sycophant, or fanboy, his ambitions may not concur with yours or mine, where, as a fan, you want to see an undisputed fight. He doesn't care about that. Now, some people say, oh, you can't say he's scared of AJ. There's no way he's scared. But either way, he's not taking the fight. And his sycophants will tell you that he's not scared. They'll try all these attempts at trying to eloquently and intellectually break down the complex mind of Fury. You know, how he's playing AJ and how he's way more intelligent than Wilder and everybody. It's all some elaborate plan that will be revealed. You know, the great Fury and his mind games. Some of them would talk about the Wilder fan base and how Wilder's their god. Fury's your god. The way you talk about Fury, Fury is your god. Has Fury been doing any serious training really though? We saw him partying with his son, talking about he's drinking 10 pints a day. People are saying, oh, he's kidding. How do I know that? You know what I mean? Like, Fury is your god. I don't have that type of faith in Fury. If he says he's drinking 10 pints, I've got no reason to think that he's joking. No reason at all.
Yeah, well, I've stopped training now. I'm on holiday at the moment. I'm doing probably about anywhere between 8 and 10 to 12 pints of lager a day at the minute. Not eating now, so I'm just getting my calories through alcohol. And that's it really, just doing nothing to do, is it? I've done like training with no further process, so it's one of them things where at the minute I'm just doing nothing. Just chilling out, being a man of leisure in lockdown.
Taskmaster burst the bionic zit splitter. Breakneck speeds, we drown 10 pints of bitter.
I just had to block some idiot because I put a poll up asking, is he trying to cycle off Peds? Got all in his feelings. Probably pretend that he's not a Tyson Fury fan, but he is. Saying, what's this narrative? I said, it's not a narrative. I didn't take a position. I'm asking, is he cycling off Peds? Why would you ask that? Because he's got popped for fucking nandrolone before. Oh, the past is the past. Really? What the fuck does that mean? Listen, I ain't got time for it, bruh. I ain't got time for it. This guy's been watching my videos for 10 years. He said it himself. And when I put other fighters under the spotlight, you haven't come defending them like that. So don't start with Tyson Fury. Has he been training? Is he cycling off Peds? No British broadcaster. Less than 3 weeks to go. What are ticket sales like? What's all these rumours about Jared Anderson putting hands on him? That's more than possible. Tyson Fury isn't what a lot of his fans say he is. He really isn't. That's more than possible. He's been able to get away with a lot with Wilder. Don't get me wrong. The threat from the right hand is there. But there's a lot you can get away with Wilder. Trust me. It's only the weak competition Wilder has been fighting, has been guarding him from looking really, really, really inadequate in a lot of fights. That's some tough sparring partners he's got there, FA and Jared. And who was the other guy? The other guy wasn't exactly light work. I can't remember who it was. What a lot of the Wilder and Fury fans will not acknowledge is there are a lot of Americans who don't feel there's a need for a third fight. And don't even ask what the state of play is in Britain. They want to see AJ versus Fury. At least they did anyway. You know what I mean? And then there's the information of what's going down with this COVID. First of all, it was someone in Team Fury who had it. And that put the fight in jeopardy. Next thing, the fight is still on. Then we hear Tyson Fury has tested positive for COVID. The fight is off. Now, I'm guessing the recovery from COVID varies on how bad you have it or how strong your immune system is. We hear Alexander Povetkin's team saying the COVID, which cancelled the rematch between him and Dillian last year, affected his performance. Dillian slapped him around in the rematch. Povetkin was never in the fight. Then again, he wasn't really in the first fight until he landed that left uppercut.
Like I said, it's a personal choice, but I still think it's stupid. It should never have happened. They should have been vaccinated, all of them. The whole camp. a little interesting to see what Bob Arum is going to say about Fury now, because he went after Teofimo Lopez pretty hard when he wasn't vaccinated and he got caught with COVID. So that'll be interesting, but, you know.
How long is it going to take Tyson Fury to recover? You can't just say October and Fury abides by that. When does he ever abide by anything? If he is going to fight Wilder, he's going to pick and choose when he's ready, when he feels fit, when he feels confident. He's going to pick his time. Fury's always insisted that it wasn't Wilder who picked him. He picked Wilder. Wilder probably thought, not in shape, not fighting fit. And he thought, yeah, I can build off this victory. I'm going to beat the man who beat the man and all that. Whatever. Even though he had a chance to fight Vlad and tie up all the belts before Fury got to Vlad. But Fury always insisted that, no, I picked you. And at the moment, he's been a step ahead of Deontay all the way. That's the truth. In and outside the ring. The vaccinations, Shelley said when he last saw Bob that Wilder had his 2 shots and he was fully vaxxed. Bob Arum said Fury's got his vaccinations. Shelley is saying, well, obviously that's a lie. And if Fury was jabbed up, it shouldn't be so easy for him to contract it. You can still contract it if you're jabbed up, though, I think.
But again, this is different from when we first went into the bubble last June and we had every other fight with a guy getting COVID because nobody really knew how to handle it. Yeah. But now with the vaccination, anybody gets COVID, shame on them. Shame on them because they hadn't taken the time or they hadn't, for some crazy reason, decided not to get vaccinated. That's nuts.
That's nuts.
Yeah, Bob contradicting himself a little, but we don't expect him to chastise Tyson Fury in public or even in private. He can't control Tyson Fury. Team Fury, top rank, they're going to lay low, work on their alibi, and they'll be back. And it is what it is. Looks like they got their work cut out. Joseph Parker was in camp with Tyson Fury, and apparently he contracted corona. So what was he doing at the Conor McGregor event? Does he have it or doesn't he? I mean, you don't go to a UFC event and you have coronavirus. You isolate. Okay, so according to many, Eddie was made to look like a mug, and Al Heyman was the genius. Now, Al Heyman is the mug, and Bob Arum is winning the game. Congratulations, Bob. But what are you winning exactly? Bob still uses the pay-per-view system. When's the last time he's had a fighter who can do 1 million pay-per-view buys or near to it? Probably Manny. What is he winning exactly? Didn't he tell Barbershop Conversations that he hasn't recouped of Tyson Fury yet? What is Tyson Fury winning? What, he's managing to keep unbeaten because he fights infrequently and gets out of fights? Whether this COVID is legitimate or not, it's another pullout. But according to some people, it was Eddie and AJ who got played. Yet, Eddie is promoting the guy with 3 belts. Still promoting him. His next fight is going to be in a football stadium against Usyk for 3 belts for a bigger purse than what Wilder and Fury are capable of earning. But it's them getting played. Now, from what I've seen and heard from Wilder, not when I used to interview him, he's a totally different guy. I don't think he has the versatility of thought to walk away from Fury and get on with his career. Maybe take on Andy Ruiz, Dillian, Charles Martin. Have some alternative fights. If the Fury fight comes around, take it. If the AJ fight comes around, take it. But he needs to develop a more philosophical approach to do that. He's too uppity. He's way too uppity. But if he's not careful, Tyson Fury is going to do irreparable damage to his career from outside the ring, possibly more than what he's done already inside the ring. Sounds crazy. And let's not try and play Wilder like he's some punk or anything like that. He's no different to any of us. There are certain people who just know how to pull your coattails. I'm not talking about some idiot troll online making a stupid comment. You can block them and get rid of them. You know what I mean? They can go back to crying into their pillow. I'm talking about a proper adversary, like Fury is to Wilder. You have to develop coping mechanisms around that. Fuck your career. They're going to destroy your life. They're going to destroy you. I know this because I've been there. Ex-girlfriend, an ex-friend, a work colleague, classmates at school, family member. How do you move on? Is what you need to figure out. Your ego can do great things for you, but there's times where it can just destroy you. If Wilder is going to have a chance of beating Tyson Fury in the ring, he needs more fights. He needs to develop more, man. He's neglected too much aspects of boxing. You're just starting to skip and run now, Deontay. He needs to fight someone like a Marius Wack. Yeah, I know he's lost a whole load of fights, and Huey recently beat him, but he's tough. He has a great chin. His engine is excellent, right? And he's a big motherfucker. If you're going to practice rolling under shots and coming up with uppercuts and hooks and stuff like that, if that's what Malik is teaching you, you need to practice it on some live bodies, not sparring, in an actual fight situation.
There's always some shitty politics and some undergoings on, isn't there, you know? Should have been fighting well before.
Talking about AJ and Fury.
Like I said, why was a 3-fight fight signed anyway? You know, you should have the best of 2 and that be the end of it.
Talking about Wilder and Fury.
So I just don't get it myself, but they are where they are. Like I said, it's not my business, I don't like to comment. When the fight happens, it happens. But all of this carry on is a load of bollocks anyway, and you know that, and I know that. You know, just need to get on and get it done.
The 3-fight series was very ambitious on the PBC and Top Rank's behalf. The only thing I would like to see boxing promoters do is not underestimate the intelligence of what they think the boxing fan knows about the sport in terms of who's the best, what the best fights are, and what they want to see. Boxers in this era don't fight as much as they used to in previous eras gone by. If you're going to have a 3-fight series in this era here, and it runs from 2018 till 2021, it's just not acceptable. It's not like a whole tournament. It's just 2 people. A 3-fight series is supposed to be tied up from 2018 to the latest 2020. And I know there was COVID, but Wilder wasn't speaking anyway after that beating he took. He hid away. We can go revisit that fight at a later date. Let's get on with it. Let's move on. If COVID is just a cover for poor ticket sales or poor prospects of the fight doing well at box office, it's time to concede that the leverage tactics freeze out AJ so we can build up Wilder and Fury to be bigger than him. I don't know. I think they're probably as popular as him, but they can't do the live gates he can do. And Fury certainly can't do the live gates that AJ has done in the UK. We need to forget about all this, who's bigger, who's sells more. Let them negotiate the purses in the boardroom and let's get the fights, man. Let's stop worrying about Al Heyman and Eddie and Wilder and AJ and whoever getting egg in their face. Next we're going to be hoping it's Bob and Fury. Look how stupid Bob and Tyson looks. But did he lose in the ring? Is the question. Since when did we make arbitrations and pulling out of fights and leaving your opponent in the lurch victories? I'm searching for the videos in 2018 where I predicted Fury was just going to cause chaos in his comeback. He'll do some good things, but he's going to shortchange you. And once again, it's the fans and the media who don't question anything the guy does. Or, in fact, forget questioning him. They kind of see all the little stunts and tricks that he pulls outside the ring as him being some fucking genius, saying he's as clever as Ali. Ali wasn't doing that. Ali wasn't trying to outwit people to duck fights. He'd outwit you, and he'll make the fight to whip you in the ring. Fury doesn't do that. What, one good victory every 4 years? Not good enough. The people who put his name in the same breath as Ali,
y'all should all get lynched.
Same thing with the Wilder fans. Put Wilder's name in the same breath as Ali,
y'all should all get lynched.
Now, while I don't like Tyson Fury, hands up, I would advise myself and you who feel the same way about him as I do, not to underestimate him and not make the mistake of thinking you cannot learn anything from him. You must study the Tyson Furies. It's important. At the Wilder press conference, as it says here, Fury also took time to reflect on the change of focus from a showdown with Joshua. Since the breakdown of plans for their scheduled contest on August the 16th, there have been plenty of words between the two rival camps, Joshua having labelled Fury a fraud during a spat that played out in public on social media. It was a crazy roller coaster of fights of what was going to happen and what was not going to happen, Fury said. But I always said, you are never fighting anybody until you are in a ring opposite them. So it wasn't very hard for me. I never started training. I was not in training camp while all these negotiations were going on. So it was what it was. 1 minute I'm fighting one guy, the next minute I'm fighting another. It's what I get paid to do. I get paid to beat up on people. It's not a bad job, really. So it's going to be Deontay Wilder. It's his turn again. And in fairness to AJ, when asked about the Fury fight when it was in negotiation, he said, I believe I'll be fighting Usyk. Going on the track records of the two. Wilder, when the arbitration went his way, he threw some shots at Eddie for trying to make the Wilder and Joshua fight. I don't know if he threw anything at AJ. And this is the thing. Don't get comfortable when you're around these Tyson Fury types. Because while I don't think he's the genius that other people think he is, he believes he's a genius. And takes pleasure in deceiving his opponents and trying to make them look stupid, not just in the ring, but outside. I'm not sure about the COVID thing. I can't prove it, but he enjoys this. Bringing instability into Wilder's world. He enjoys it. Wilder needs time to get Fury out of his headspace. He needs time. He might not be able to see it. The fan base, they definitely don't have the intelligence how to look at these situations. And there's no embarrassment in it. There is none at all. Don't be the in who's very impressionable by your surroundings and who's in them, thinking you need immediate get back on every situation. Wilder doesn't only have to figure how to beat Fury in the ring, he's got to cope with it mentally outside of it. The exaggerated bobbing his head to the music in the press conference rather than engaging Fury verbally is a big red flag of why you shouldn't take that fight and what Fury has done to this man. You've allowed Fury to change you. What happened to this Wilder?
Say I talk too much, hey, come and shut me up, because when I was quiet, they was complaining. So when I'm loud, they still complaining, so it don't matter. So while I'm the champion and I'm loud, I'm gonna continue to be loud, because if I'm loud and proving myself each and every time in the ring, that just made me continue on to say what I mean and mean what I say. I'm the best in the world. And anybody got the dignity and got the heart to prove me wrong, then come and step in front of me. Come and step in the ring with me and show me. Right now, come and shut this loud mouth up. I want to be shut up.
Now, you could say, oh, the man's deluded, he's this, that. But he was speaking with conviction. He believed that this mentality defined him. He said he wanted to be shut up. Come shut me up. And then in the press conference, it seems you got your wish. Now, whether this fight happens in October or any time this year, next year, or if it never happens, the silent thing with Fury, no. It's a no-no. It's a no-no. Next time, you need to talk. Wilder needs too much control over his opponents. Like, he had Luis Ortiz under manners. Okay, I'll give you a shot because you haven't disrespected me and shit like that. Like, Malik was very obliging to him as well. I'm not going to say he threw the fight. I don't think he did. But he was very obliging. You know, Deontay has this weird obsession with Fury. I gave you a shot. You should give me a shot. You want him to play fair and square, but yet you accused him of cheating. At the same time, you want him to play fair and square. There's a lot of conflict there going on with Wilder. Naivety. Fury don't care about you. What Wilder didn't realize with the leverage tactics is someone had to lose. Two people ain't going to win with the leverage tactics. You're not both going to freeze AJ out and come out well. One of you is going to come out well, and the other is going to have people saying what they've recently been saying. Oh, you got egg on your face. You got played. And that's you. So what if you gave him a title shot when he was on his knees? He doesn't care about that. And why should he care about that? He's not your family. He's not your brother. This isn't a double act. Boxing's an individual sport. Get over it. The telling paragraph from Wilder is, they was going to give me more for fighting AJ than fighting you. That was the telling one. That's the one that's fucking his head up really bad now. You're going to get more money and a chance to be undisputed champion in your country. No one's been undisputed in your country since who? Riddick Bowe. There is no badge alliance between you and Fury, brothers against AJ. No, there's not. And there never was. You're not going to do tours talking about how AJ ducked you both and how we're the top guys. Nah. Every man for himself, all the time. It's not personal. It's boxing. It's not personal. Look closer to home for loyalty. Like when he came on Good Morning Britain with him and Fury and the way he was talking about AJ. They took something away from me and he was really acting up in front of the camera. Fury wasn't doing that. We want to fight each other. We gladiators. It was almost like he thought he was in a pact with Fury. If Fury sees that you have something he wants, then he'll revisit the third fight. That's how he's operating. Wilder takes it to heart. When AJ lost to Andy Ruiz, it was almost like he won the fight. See, this is what would have happened if I fought him and all this craziness. Just a lot of madness. And the venom he has for AJ, he actually believes that it's justified, and it's not justified. He's had opportunities to fight AJ. While Tyson Fury talks a lot of shit about AJ, but occasionally he'll say, yo, AJ did well. AJ really did well for himself. Yeah, he's a good fighter. What I'm saying, Tyson is more grounded about it. He's not taking it as personally as Wilder. Fury came out years back and said, yeah, this kid, he beat me up in the sparring session. He's one for the future. Fury don't care about nobody. He don't care about AJ. He don't care about Wilder. He don't care about all the young upcoming contenders. He don't care about that. He cares about number one. You can't be mad at that. Even though some of his antics are no good for the game. Let's keep it real.
Like I say, I don't need Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua don't need me. He's made a lot of money too. He could retire today, just like me. We don't need to box and get punched in the face. We're multimillionaires. You know, we all are. Deontay Wilder is as well. Deontay Wilder made $54 million in 2020. $54 million. Great. 1 year. That's fantastic, isn't it?
I'm not sure when we're going to see this guy back in the ring. I'm not sure.